Well, folks, good evening to you, one and all. And, well, here we go. Yet another round. Season 13, round number 5 in the F315 Renault, which is an open wheeler, as you can see. And that from Silverstone, one of the iconic circuits in England. So, yeah, we're not going to have any on screen visuals, so I'm going to talk you through tonight. There's the being IT entry of Leon van Wyk. Herman Lazarus in his favorite colors. Willem Botha. Let's get a slightly closer shot of that one as he works his way up the straight, up Hamilton Straight. Super Seniors, Leonardo Beccari. Captain Peter van der Spey. Oh, in the Benson and Hedges colors. And then Sandro Beccari. One of our top 3 frequent flyers, Luke the Keezy. Got a lot of back wing dulled in there. Mr. Carl Lawrence, welcome back. In the Rothmans colors. Would have been nice to have had a red 5 on there. Timothy Stanton, the fastest iRacing accountant in South Africa. JJ van der Merwe, resplendent in green. And then we've got Neil Lamprechts out there as well as he works his way around. So just studying a nice little onboard shot there as we ride with Neil Lamprechts as he works his way around. Nice and smooth. So the first of the big hitters puts up their times. Oh, and having said that, he spins it around. Look, the Keezy, the fastest man out there, 142.46. Then the being IT entry of Leon van Wyk, 142.95. JJ van der Merwe provisionally puts himself up onto the second row of the grid with a 143.68. And Super Seniors, Sandro Beccari, the first of the Super Seniors to put up a time of 143.75, 1.3 off the front end of the pack. Neil Lamprechts, that we were sitting on board with a couple of seconds back, he has got himself up onto the 5th position. Still waiting to get a lap time on Herman Lazarus. Willem Botha. Leonardo Beccari. Captain Peter van der Spey. And Timothy Stanton. Any one of those ones that comes through. Oh, look at that Red Bull. Looks a bit weird to see Red Bull with a black background. That is not the norm. So without that telemetry up on the screen this evening, you're going to have to rely on me to bring you the inside line as to exactly what's happening out there. So 5 minutes 45 that we've gone in, and Sandro Beccari, the Super Senior, takes that Texaco Havilon machine up into the 3rd row of the grid. That makes him the fastest of the Super Seniors. on a 143.14, 7/10 off the front end of the pack. And that puts him around about 1.5 seconds per lap quicker than Peter van der Spain, the Repsol colours, who finds himself about 8/10 quicker than Leonardo Beccari. Still waiting for Herman Lazarus to get a clean lap in there so that he can take the cheapercars.co.za mean machine onto the grid. Don't see anything of Carl Lawrence at this stage of the fight. He has not jumped into the quali as of yet. We're 7 minutes in, and Luc Easy has gone to the front end of the pack. He does a lot of international racing. He's got an IR rating of 4.61. Oh, Leon van Wyk. That is something else. Leon van Wyk, I don't want to break into your concentration, but you just went to 100th of a second level with Luc Easy on the front row of the grid, a 142.46.
Coming for Luke, coming for Luke.
Yeah, awesome stuff. Look at that. Can you believe it? Luc Easy on a 142.46. Leon van Wyk on a 142.46. Then just 1500ths of a second slower is Timothy Stanton. And then also 1500ths slower than that is Neil Lampras. 1500ths. It's 1.5 tenths. It's nothing in it. Sandra Beccari still the leader in the Super Seniors. He's ahead. Oh, Willem Botha's battling a bit out there. 143.38. So he finds himself about 9/10 off that leading quartet of 4 up front in the 142s. Can you believe it? JJ van der Merwe, exact same time as Willem Botha. They are on 6th and 7th on the grid, 143.38. And both of them on a 143.38. Captain Peter van der Spain still working his way around, trying to get it a little bit quicker out there. He's on a 144.65. He had it off on the last lap that he just did. So nobody making any major inroads at the moment now. See, Herman Lazarus has managed to put in a clean lap, a 146.62, as he works his way around. So for those of you that have just joined us, we're in the Renault 3.5, it's 3.5 litre open wheeler class, and we are at Silverstone, as you could have gathered by looking at the track out there. What a well-known circuit it is. And Timothy Stanton has gone to the front. What a lap time. Timothy Stanton of 42.32. Timothy Stanton, did you have something special in your Wheaties this morning that you've just eked that out ahead there of Luc Easy and Leon van Wyk on exactly the same time? A 142.46. You've done a 142.32.
Yeah, I'm just as surprised as you, but you know the commentators curse, eh?
Okay, I promise not to speak about you until such time as we are on the checkered flag. What a brilliant time by Timothy Stanton from Luc Easy, 142.32. Luke's gone into the pits, so that means Leon van Wyk finds himself, although he's on the exact same lap time as Luc Easy, Luke put up the 142.46 before Leon did, which means that that finds Luc Easy, it's now in the pits, and Timothy Stanton's in the pits as we go to 10 minutes 41, so they're not going to get any more laps in. Leon van Wyk is still out there on track. We'll try and see if he can complete this lap. He's got to beat the best time of himself and Luc Easy, 142.46. Sandro Beccari onto the second row of the grid, a 142.58. that is something else. Super Senior. Can you believe it? Ahead of the likes of Neil Lamprecht. JJ, that is back into the pits. Even Willem Botha. That is an amazing time for the Super Senior. Puts himself way ahead of the rest of the Super Seniors. Leon van Wyk has not given up yet. He's still out there, trying to see if he can complete yet another lap. Somehow find a little bit, some way. This is going to be brilliant. Utterly brilliant stuff as we come to the end of the quali. Alrighty-o, Flo, that's the way it's going to play itself out, and unfortunately we're not going to be able to get that grid to come up for you, so let me give you that grid. The front row of the grid will in fact be Timothy Stanton. That's going to be on the front row of the grid. Alongside William, he's not in yet, is on screen, he's Luke Lekesi. The second row will be Leon van Wyk, and then Sandro Bakari. You can see the open grid spots there. Neil Lamprecht, the other grid spot that is open, that is 5th place. That's on, there we go, there he comes in now. There is Neil. JJ van der Merwe, that is the green one. Willem Botha on the outside of that, the yellow. Then we've got Peter van der Spey with a yellow and black. Then we've got Leonardo Bakari. Then we've got the blue one, Herman Lazarus. And then Carl Lawrence at the back end of the pack. So here we go. And we are about to go green. The green lights go on and away we go. And down towards turn number 1. And it's Daniel Lamprecht that goes up on that inside line. What a brilliant start by Neil. The red one in there behind him, that's Luke Lekesi. Then it's Timothy Stanton who's trying to hold off Leon van Wyk. Has a look up on the inside. But Willem Botha goes right around the outside of Leon. There's JJ in the green car directly in behind that. He tries to tie it up just a little bit closer. We had Carl Lawrence that went off there. Let's have a look, see what happened with Carl Lawrence. Carl Lawrence turns it in, and so far so good. Oh, dives it up on the inside, and that turns himself and Leon van Wyk around as well. Herman Lazarus also had a bit of an incident, probably fine. He went into the cars that were standing there. Yep, he had pretty much nowhere to go, but back to the front end of the field. Luke Lekesi, that leads them out. Then it's Neil Lamprecht. In behind that is the pole sitter Timothy Stanton. Then behind that is Willem Botha, Sandro Bakari, Super Senior. The next one in there behind that. Then it is JJ van der Merwe. That is the guys that's managed to get away from the rest of the pack. Because, oopsie, Willem has gone off as well. So Willem Botha that left the circuit. Let's see if we can see what happened with Willem. In the Benson and Hedges, a Repsol entry just gets it too far wide and spins it right around. Gets it going pretty quickly if you think you've got to get through that sand trap and get it back out onto the track again, so it didn't lose out too much time there. But it's Luke Lekesi that's at the front end of the field. Luke Lekesi from Neil Lamprecht. In there behind that is Timothy Stanton, the ex-pole sitter, in that 3rd position. There's 1st, 2nd, 3rd. There is 4th. And then behind that is JJ van der Merwe. Then we've got quite a big gap behind JJ as we go back to Peter van der Spey in the Benson Hedges Repsol entry. Behind Peter van der Spey, there is Leonardo Bakari, and in the Rothmans car, that is Carl Lawrence. Let's go on board with Carl Lawrence and see what does it look like sitting low down in the seat, having a look at that inside line. That's not going to be the quickest way through that corner. Carl Lawrence on the back end of Leonardo Bakari that's got himself up into 7th position. In the meantime, Herman Lazarus and Leon van Wyk have both been into the pits. They are both sitting in the pit lane at the moment. In fact, Herman Lazarus is now on his way. That's what it looks like on the exit to the pits. as he works his way out. Oh, Willem Botha's had an incident as well. There comes Willem Botha through. And he was pushing very hard earlier on. And the back end steps out on him once again. So just a little bit too much rotation on that vehicle. But while all that has been happening, it's all about this man, Luke Lucchese. Neil's not that far behind. In fact, that front grouping is all very close, because there's Luke, there's Neil, there is Timothy Stanton. Behind Timothy Stanton is Super Senior Sandro Bakari, just ahead of JJ. Let's ride on board with JJ. How much can he see? Ooh, he can see all of them in front of him as we ride on board with JJ. Right in there behind Super Senior Sandro Bakari. Second gear, third gear, keep the hammer down. You're going to work your way now down the hangar straight. Just keep it hard on the gas. Slow it all down to third gear, nice and smooth through there. Now you go down to second to be able to boot it coming out of the corner, but much more power than what you can possibly put down as you work your way through club into the Hamilton straight. That long looping right-hander through Abbey Corner. Now you head up towards Farm Curve, through Village, and oh, look how close that one is. Through the loop, through Aintree, down the Wellington Straight, underneath the Johnny Walker Bridge. Through Luffield. Nice and tight through there. Ease it back. And off you go with a pit on your right hand side. Getting slowly but surely closer. Edging just piece for piece. Closer and closer to the back end of Sandro Bakari. But the interesting part of this is you can see Timothy Stanton just in front of that. Then the purple one a little bit further forward, that's Neil Lamprecht. Whoopsie. Who was that? Somebody lost it. Sandro Bakari that passed Timothy Stanton. There's Sandro Bakari. Yep, Timothy that just got it a little bit sideways and went straight through and then lost it all by himself after that, unfortunately. And now manages to get it going again. So lots of thrills and spills that's happening out there right now. Let's go back to Luke Lucchese. What a lovely sight that is for Luke Lucchese. He's done 3.6 laps, and if he looks behind him, it's all wide open. A little dot there in the background that is representing the next man behind him, and the man in second position is in fact Neil Lamprecht. Neil Lamprecht's in second, third is JJ, fourth is Timothy Stanton. Then our super seniors are all together. Sandro Bakari, Captain Peter van der Spey, that's going to be racing at Killarney International Raceway SA Endurance Series 6 hour this weekend at Killarney International. Hasn't been out on main circuit for close to 2 years now, and tomorrow will be the first time that he's in the car and practicing. And there we've got Leonardo Bakari, third in the Grand Masters. That ahead of a battling Willem Botha that's turned himself around twice already, and that's cost him pretty dearly, as Willem Botha finds himself in a little bit of open ground right now. There's nobody anywhere near in front or behind of him. The leading man that's been in and out of the pits is in fact the cheapercars.co.za Renault 3.5 of Herman Lazarus. Carl Lawrence has in fact been in and out of the pits, as well as Leon van Wyk that's actually had a pit stop as well. So that's cost him pretty dearly. The being IT entry is going to have to really go some. His best lap so far has been a 146.42 for Carl Lawrence, that man. A 146.42, that's been his quickest. And Luke Lucchese has had an accident as well. Let's see what happened from the lead. Luke Lucchese. All looks pretty fine, and that exact same corner that's caught other people out as he flicks it around, gets out of the way so Neil can come through. There Neil comes through, he battles to get it back on the circuit. There comes JJ making up a position as well, and then Timothy Stanton, that had the pace, just carried it through and did the passing maneuver as well. So that was from first right down to fourth position for Luke Lucchese. Having said that, Luke Lucchese has gone into the pits. He is behind the wall. Let's see if we can get a camera shot where we can actually see him. There we go. There is Luke Lucchese that's in the pits. Leonardo Beccari has decided he's going to be coming in as well. So Luke Lucchese is on his way out of the pits, and he will be the leading man that has been in and out of the pits. Where is Willem? Willem coming up the straight now. That is the exit to the pits on your now left-hand side. But you remember, Willem Buerta has not been into the pits yet. Leonardo Beccari is about to work his way out. So the leading man in and out of the pits at this point is in fact Luke Lucchese, even after the discomfort that he's had so far this race. We're 9 minutes 55 into the race. And that is your lead man, Daniel Lamprecht from JJ, from the regional pole sitter Timothy, and then not too far behind him, 4.5 seconds further back. There's Sandro from Peter van der Spey, and Sandro's not exactly getting away from him. JJ has decided he's going to dive into the pits. What does Timothy Stanton do? Timothy Stanton decides he's going to go straight through. What about Sandro Beccari? Sandro comes straight through. Peter van der Spey has decided to dive into the pits, so he's going to try and do the undercut on Sandro Beccari as he works his way. Look at that length of that pit straight. Now you come into your pit box. How long does it feel, that pit lane? You slowly edge down 80 kilometers an hour, waiting till you can get to your pit box. Into the pit box you go. Stop. He was on the pit limiter. You could see all the way through. Select that first gear, and off he goes out of the pits. So JJ van der Merwe is still standing in the pit lane. Don't know what's gone wrong for JJ van der Merwe. JJ is stuck in the pit lane. Is there something wrong with the settings?
No, JJ did not press the pit limiter, so he's serving a penalty.
So
40 seconds.
So message to JJ van der Merwe, select pit limiter timeously.
Yeah, that's a dumbass thing, eh?
You gotta love it. So it's all about Neil Lamprecht in the Moser car that leads out at the moment, but remember, he has not been into the pits yet. There comes Timothy Stanton, Sandro Beccari, there comes Luke Lucchese as he works his way up the straight. And remember, Luke has been in. Daniel Lamprecht's on his way into the pits. So Neil on his way in, and Timothy as well. What does Sandro Beccari do? Sandro Beccari decides he's coming in as well. Now the whole thing goes about this man, Luke Lucchese. Can he get past the pit exit before the likes of Neil, Timothy and Sandro come through? Where's Luke Lucchese? Still feels like he's a long way back. I think Neil might just get out at the front of this pack. He is still there in the pit lane. Is Neil? Right, there he's just about to get going now. Where is Luke Lucchese? Luke Lucchese still got a way to go. I think Neil's got it. There Neil comes out onto the circuit. Where is Timothy Stanton? There comes Timothy Stanton. Where is Look Easy? There only is Look Easy. What about Sandro Bakari? Sandro Bakari comes out just ahead of Look Easy. Super Senior, with everybody having been in and out of the pits except for Willem Botha, who's in his on his way into the pits right now. 13 minutes that is gone already, and we are 7.5 laps into this one, and it's Neil Lamprecht that leads out from Timothy Stanton, that ahead of Sandro Bakari, Super Senior, who finds himself ahead of Look Easy. Next one coming through there, lovely drive by Peter van der Spey, getting the edge in there as he needs to practice tomorrow. He's going to be all about the real deal out at Killarney International Raceway. A big thanks to Induction Noise for their support of our series. Willem Botha finds himself down in 6th position, 4th overall in class. He's 2 positions up as he works his way around as well. But it's all about that man. What a lovely drive. Timothy Stanton, the fastest accountant in iRacing in South Africa. And still Sandro Bakari holds out on Look Easy. Haviland Texaco colours, accustomed to seeing that in NASCAR. Look at the support on that side skirt. He's actually doing a very good job. Sandro Bakari's last lap was a 43.75. And, his best lap has been a 143.75. Luke Lukizi has put in a 43 dead. But we'll see now once they complete the following lap and go across the line without any pits in and outs. We'll then see the real pace of what is happening out there. A 143.63 for Daniel Lamprecht and Timothy Stanton, both of them to a split second on their best lap so far. So Neil has got, on the last time they came across the timing device, a slightly quicker time than that man, Timothy Stanton. And in fact, no, Timothy Stanton's actually closed. The last time they went across the line, Timothy did a 2:11.23 and Daniel Lamprecht did a 2:11.69. Having said that, Sandro Bakari's last lap was a 2:11.07. So the Super Senior is doing a fantastic job. He is actually right now very much on the pace to be able to hold out, at least for now, Luke Lukizi. Let's go on board with Luke Lukizi, see what it looks like from his point of view. That's what he's chasing, the Super Senior, Sandro Bakari. Luke, directly in front of you is Super Senior Sandro Bakari. He's putting up a very good pace.
Yeah, he's got a very good pace.
I think it's probably one of the best that he's ever been able to do so far. Your last lap was a 143.7. Sandro did a 143.53. If he does not make mistakes, do you think you'll be able to get to him?
I think I'll get to him, yeah. The last lap wasn't a very good lap, so...
And in terms of slipstream on these Renault 3.5s, does it make a big difference once you get closer?
Yes, it does, yeah.
Okay, what do you need? About 4/10 gap? Nothing more than that?
Probably about a second, and then you'll start feeling it.
Excellent. Will he feel any drag at all with you behind him, or not really?
No, nothing.
So it won't affect him at all. You won't get that buffeting effect. All right, yeah. There we go. So the voice of Luke Lukizi as he tries to chase down Super Senior Sandro Bakari. So Sandro Bakari has in fact on his last lap done a 143.75. Luke Lukizi on a 143. So yes, on the last lap he did actually catch up just a little. But I tell you what, Sandro Bakari is doing a magnificent job out there. Is Sandro Bakari. It looks like Carl Lawrence has had an incident. Let's see what happened to Carl in the Rothman's car. Tail end just stepping out there on him as he gets it going again. Carl, the back end stepping out there on you all of a sudden. Is that a case of lifting off and turning at the same time? Or is that just too much back brakes that's dialed in, including a gear down?
I'm almost entirely sure it was neither of those things. It was simply a lack of talent.
Oh, brutal honesty from Carl Lawrence as he works his way around. So it's when they say when you run out of road ideas around about the same time, that's what it's all about. Neil Lamprecht's not running out of talent whatsoever. We are 18 minutes 45 into this one, and Neil is looking very good. Neil, quite a long time since you've had a out-and-out win. This must be feeling pretty good because you're definitely quick enough to stay out there in front at the moment.
Well, I'm chasing my first win, so it's win or win it at this stage.
What a pleasure. The pressure is on, and Timothy Stanton is right in there behind him. Timothy's giving nothing away. Let's go on board with Timothy Stanton. That's what he is chasing. The last lap, Timothy was notably quicker, in fact, a 43.3 as opposed to a 44.23, so it's a case of not making errors. We've got 5.5 minutes to go. We're riding on board with second place Timothy Stanton. The man in front of him is Neil Lamprecht. Then there's about a 6-second gap back to super senior Sandro Bakari that's directly behind him. Luke Lucchese now finds, as he said, within a second you start to pick up that slipstream, and you can see he is now in the slipstream, but Sandro Bakari riding a very protective line there, making sure that he makes that 3.5 Renault as wide as what he possibly can. Now dives across to the inside, and well, he's going to try and hold out, but Luke is now going to be on his right hand side as they work their way down to that left hander. Can Luke sweep right around the outside and then be on the inside for the right hander? Yes, he does. So Luke Lucchese moves up into a podium position, but keep in mind Sandro Bakari is the leading super senior, and there is a 9-second gap back to second place super senior Peter van der Spey. He's had a pretty exemplary run out there in the Benson and Hedges car. Looking nice and neat. A lovely little sticker job that he's got on there. And then there's Leonardo Bakari that finds himself in a bit of a battle with JJ van der Merwe directly in there behind him. So nothing much between them at this stage, as they work their way around JJ using that slipstream. Is it going to be enough? Is it going to be enough before they get to Abbey? Nope. Through Abbey, he runs it wide, dives into that slipstream again, through Farm Curve, through Village, into the loop, and down the straight they go, Wellington Straight. Now for that little S-bend. Can he dive in under the brakes? Nope, not close enough, as they work their way through the S's. Turn it all the way around. Over the start-finish line they go. So with 22 minutes and 13 seconds, it's Neil Lamprecht from Timothy Stanton, from Luke Lucchese, the hard-charging super senior Sandro Bakari, second in class, and fifth overall on circuit is Peter van der Spey from Willem Botha in a similar look-alike vehicle. There comes JJ. Leonardo's having a pretty good race. Really not bad. Now, Leon van Wyk finds himself a long, long way back. Leon van Wyk is in no man's land. Oh dear, looks like Peter van der Spey's just had an off. Peter van der Spey comes through. Yep, just backs out of the gas before it goes too far. Does a perfect 90-degree stop. And gets the Repsol Benson and Hedges car going again just after the DRS sign. And let's have a look, see what happened to Carl Lawrence. Is that going to be a same and similar? As we've got 1.5 minutes left. The other back end just steps out and says, good night, nurse. We ain't going to play this game. So let's go back to the leader with 1 minute and 20 seconds to go. It's all about Neil Lamprecht. He's held out on Timothy Stanton. Can he hold out just a little bit longer? Because Timothy is closing. Although on the last lap, Neil turned up the wick just a little and took 1/100th of a second out of Timothy Stanton. A 143.87 and a 143.88. As we have got just 50 seconds to go. So we keep an eye on the 141 of Neil Lamprecht. He's chasing his first victory. Can you believe it? So we're going to make a point of not talking on Daniel Lamprecht's hand. We don't want to put the commentator's curse on him, as he's well on his way to his first overall victory. So that's going to be pretty good stuff to see how this one plays itself out. Can Neil hold out all the way to the end? I somehow think he's got it. I somehow think he has got it. As he works his way through. He's doing it all right now. 24 minutes 59 has gone. Let's hope with the telemetry that we have that we're going to be able to pick up those checkered flags. When they do come out, they are on the white flag lap right now. Last chance for that man, Timothy Stanton, to try and close up the gap. They've broken away from Sandro Bakari. But Sandro Bakari is the leading super senior right now as they're on the white flag lap. This is going to be the real deal. Corner for corner as they work their way around. Neil's got to be super duper smooth because Timothy is right there with him. Look at that. That's how close Timothy Stanton has gotten to him. He's taken literally a half a second out of Neil that's trying to play it nice and smooth. For the last time underneath the Johnny Walker Bridge. 257, 258 kilometers an hour. Exact same to 1 kilometer top speed between the two of them on that specific piece of the circuit. Luke Lucchese's just put up a personal best and the fastest lap, a 142.84. It's checkered flag time, and that is a maiden victory for Neil Lamprecht from Timothy Stanton. Here comes Sandro Bakari, the leading super senior. He comes across the line, and so does Luke Luchese. Willem Botha trying desperately to hold out on JJ. JJ dives out. But he's going to have to go the long way around on Willem Botha if he's going to make this one stick. Well, he gives it a pretty good go. Willem doesn't give him any unnecessary additional space. And it looks like Willem's going to get it. It looks like Willem's going to get out. JJ went pretty deep in the corner. Very late there on the brakes as they come around the last corner to come through for the checkered flag. And he takes it, Willem Botha, from JJ van der Merwe. A good drive, Leonardo Bakari. After that spin by Peter van der Spey, Leonardo Bakari beating out there on a Peter van der Spey. Here comes Herman Lazarus. He comes through the last corners. Through Club. out into the straight. Herman Lazarus finishes his race, and then one more to come. And that's Leon van Wyk. Wow, we can't remember when last I've seen Leon van Wyk so far back. So it just didn't go right for Leon as Leon comes through to take the checkered flag. Try and see quickly if I can pick up where, yeah, no, it's taken all the replays away from us. So we've got a short 3-minute break, and then we will come back to you with race number 2, and that's going to be on the inverted grid. So we're just about good to go with race number 2. We've got about another half a minute. So going into this one, with the absence of Gerald Fourie, Luke Lucchese, that's pulling up a whole bunch of points there. Leon van Wyk not getting a good result in this one, so that's not exactly going to help him with JJ van der Merwe that ends ahead of him and will probably jump the gun. But then again, Neil Lamprechts has made the winning move there, and that takes him from 205. That's going to move him a long, long way up. Let's have a look at the Grandmasters going into this one. Sandro Bakari from Peter van der Spey and Leonardo. Leonardo having beaten Peter in this first race now will close up that gap between the 236 and the 254. So that will get just a little bit closer as we get ourselves ready to get onto the grid for race number 2. So here's the interesting part of it. It's going to be Peter van der Spey on the front row of the grid. So with Peter van der Spey and Leonardo Bakari on the front row of the grid, JJ van der Merwe from Willem Botha, and then Luke Lucchese. This is going to be an interesting one going down to turn number 1. You've got to be fast, but you don't want to get yourself tied up in a situation at all as they're about to come off the line. Who is going to be the quickest man down towards turn number 1? There they come. Oh, Luke Lucchese was standing dead still on the line. He didn't get off the line. And it's JJ van der Merwe that's going to go straight to the front. It's Willem Botha that's right in there as well. Timothy Stanton that went into the back of the standing still Luke Lucchese. And then Herman Lazarus had nowhere to go from there as well. So that's going to make Luke Lucchese has dived into the pits. So don't know what happened with Luke Lucchese. Didn't manage to get it off the line. It's JJ van der Merwe. It's Willem Botha. It's the winner of race number 1. It's Neil Lamprecht. Then it's Peter van der Spey. Diving through there is Leon van Wyk trying to make the move around the outside of Carl Lawrence. Squeezes him, does Carl Lawrence. Now Carl is on that outside line, but still holding sway pretty decently. Not giving that one away at all. Then it's Leonardo Bakari that's in there directly behind that. But look at that battle between Carl Lawrence and Leon van Wyk. Still nobody yielding on that one. Carl Lawrence stays right there. Dives across towards the inside. Thinks he's got enough pace. But it's going to be a left-hander. Then a right-hander. Then another left-hander from there. And Leon gets through. Leonardo Bakari is right in there behind him as well. JJ van der Merwe, well, he's going to have to do some magic because here comes Willem Botha. Willem Botha pops it up on that inside line. Hard on the brakes, 2 down on the gears. And JJ van der Merwe drops back into that second position. But it's not over with yet. And whoa, he just dismisses the back end and sacrifices himself literally to make sure that he doesn't make contact with the back end of Willem Botha. But what does that now look like behind JJ? Because here comes the next problem, and it's called the race number 1 winner. And Neil dives through on that inside line, goes ahead of JJ. So it's Willem from Neil, from JJ, then Peter van der Spey that came off the front end of the pack. The being IT entry is right up alongside him, and he will take the tight line for that very sharp left-hander as they work their way through. Peter van der Spey ahead of Leonardo Bakari, and Sandro Bakari is into the pits and on his way out. Timothy Stanton is on his way into the pits. Looks like he might have lost a fair portion of the front of that car, and the left-hand front wheel is pointing very, very much toe out on that one. So let's have a look, see if we can try and pick up some of that initial situation that we had on the start. Well, there you see it. Luke Lucchese was standing dead still. There was nowhere for the 77 of Timothy Stanton to go. Only then did they manage to get going. And let's have a look from Luke Lucchese's point of view. Maybe we must do on that replay of Luke Lucchese. Let's have a look at it from a different point of view. There you can see he's standing with the Mission Minon Shell V-Power car dead still. He hadn't even managed to select a gear at that stage of the fight. And then Luke Lucchese manages to then get it going thereafter as we go back to the live. So definitely a problem there coming off the line for Luke Lucchese, as Willem Botha is leading them out. Luke Lucchese, a problem there on the start. Could you not get a gear selected?
Forgot to select the gear.
Oh, so
So when
note.
I released my clutch, it didn't go anywhere.
So as we had note to driver, use pit lane limiter. This one is going to be when all else fails, select first gear. There
Yeah,
we go.
exactly.
So we got that one sorted out. That's brilliant stuff. All right, so it's all about that man, Willem Botha, that leads them out from Neil Lamprecht. Leon van Wyk a whole bunch better this time around, as Leon finds himself in that third position. Leon van Wyk having a lot more fun in the being IT entry in race number 2. What went wrong that you found yourself right at the back of the pack for race number 1? Well, not been able to have a chat there with Leon. I see his mic is muted. Leon van Wyk's mic has been muted, so we cannot hear from him there at all. Not sure why he's got it muted. There must have been a bit of noise in the background. Willem Botha from Neil Lamprecht. Leon van Wyk Captain Peter van... Oh, Leonardo Beccari. Leonardo Beccari is holding on now. Leonardo Beccari managed to beat out on Peter van der Spey in race number 1. I think he kind of fancies his chances to hold on here. Somewhere, somehow. Oopsie, lots of understeer there in the slow speed corner with very little to no aerodynamic downforce. Now it's flat foot all the way through. 8,000, it's like about 8,400 RPM before he backed out there down to third gear. So Leonardo Beccari having one of his best races for a long time. As we ride on board there with Leonardo Beccari, I see Leon van Wyk has unmuted his mic. Leon, what went wrong in race number 1 that dropped you right to the back end of the pack, and now you're right up there on pace and lying in third position?
The worst possible start. I just stood still, spinning the wheels, adding smoke to the air. And then I think it was turn 3, someone went for a gap that wasn't a gap.
But on a positive note, even though you were spinning wheels, you didn't do a look the keysy on yourself. You actually did select a gear.
I did select a gear, yeah. Even though it looked like I was standing still.
There we go. The inside line of what happens when you're out there on the circuit, and just about anything can happen. 7 minutes into it, Willem Botha, the man that leads them out. Willem Botha, oh, he's got a nice gap, because only there do we see Neil and Leon. And then 6 seconds further back behind that, there comes Peter van der Spey. He's managed to get himself a bit of a gap there on Leonardo Beccari, that finds himself in a massive battle with Carl Lawrence. Carl Lawrence does go through in the Rothmans car. There's Carl Lawrence. So Carl having got through. Can Carl go and fetch Peter van der Spey? Although it won't be of much interest to Peter van der Spey, because his main interest is in fact this man, Sandro Beccari. But keep in mind, Sandro Beccari has been into the pits already. So has JJ van der Merwe. So, oh, he loses it completely. Just too far there on the outside. That takes both of them out of it. Bits and pieces go flying from both of those cars. Now, if the damage is on, that's going to be a case of try and drag yourself back to the pits. Yep, looks like damage is on. JJ's getting kind of going. Sandro is battling to get himself back there again. JJ, an unfortunate incident that it looks like the damage is on.
Yeah, damage is on. I was on the outside. I got onto the Astro and spun and then drove into Sandro.
Oh my goodness.
I can only apologize there. Sorry, Sandro. It was not my intention.
Yeah, unfortunately, Sandro had nowhere to go with that one. He has teleported himself. That's my word for today. He's teleported himself back to the pits. Yeah, unfortunately. Wrong place, wrong time, unfortunately, for him. So that explains how that one played itself out. It's all about Willem Botha. Willem Botha is doing it all right. And Leon van Wyk has made the maneuver. Let's see if we can maybe pick that one up. Leon van Wyk passing Neil. Very close to one another, and he just squeezes it up on the inside. And Leon van Wyk, having had that disastrous start, as he said, he was standing dead still, wheel spinning. He manages to get himself up now into a very good second place. So JJ has gone, he's wanting to go into the pits. Look at that, the whole front end of that car is gone on JJ van der Merwe's car, so he's going to have to go in. So for him, it now goes about that man, Timothy Stanton, who's now going to go through and go provisionally to the front end of the pack as he works his way around. Still coming through into the pits is JJ. But remember, Timothy Stanton is the lead car out there right now. And that ahead of Luke Lucchese, that's only coming into that straight now. And there is JJ that's still in the pits. Luke Lucchese goes past the exit of the pits. So JJ van der Merwe, but Leon van Wyk is now on his way into the pits as well. He has selected the pit lane. There he goes. So he's on his way in. Carl Lawrence is going to be going into the pits now as well. Yep, there Carl Lawrence goes in. Leon van Wyk is already in. Leonardo Bakari is coming in as well. Sandro Bakari is in the pits and still standing. So I think there's a whole bunch of damage to that motor car. I wonder if Sandro Bakari is going to be able to get out of the pits. He's already been 2 minutes 21 in the pits right now. And that means that that man, Peter van der Spey, who still has to make a pit stop, he is the leading super senior. And that ahead of Leonardo Bakari that's on his way into the pits now. There's Carl Lawrence about to take off. Unfortunately, we still have Sandro Bakari standing there in the pit lane. But Willem Botha goes through for yet another lap. He's not been into the pits yet. There comes Daniel Lamprecht in second position. Also not been into the pits yet. Here comes Peter van der Spey. Also not yet been into the pits. He is 12 seconds ahead of that man that just crunched our camera. Oh, Willem Botha has gone into the pits. Willem Botha has gone into the pits as we keep an eye on Herman Lazarus. So Willem Botha is into the pit lane. There he goes. Neil Lamprecht is into the pit lane. There he comes in. Phew, flying in there, trying to make up a bit of time. Peter van der Spey, is he going to make his way in as well? Yes, he does. And Herman Lazarus is the last man not to have gone into the pits yet. Where is Leon van Wyk? There's Leon van Wyk, but Willem Botha, I think Willem Botha is there. He stops. There's Neil directly behind him. There's Leon that is on his way through. Peter van der Spey is on his way out of the pit lane. He'll come into view in the not too distant future. No, he's actually standing there right now. So having been in and out of the pits, Willem Botha is the lead man out there. He's got himself 5 seconds on that man, Leon van Wyk, who's got himself just a little bit of space, 1.7 on Neil. That whole lot is 11 seconds ahead of Peter van der Spey, who has been in and out of the pits. He finds himself ahead of Carl Lawrence, who is still ahead of Herman Lazarus. Leonardo Bakari's had one of his best meetings for a long time. For a very, very long time. Leonardo Bakari looking pretty good. He finds himself ahead of the recovering Timothy Stanton. Oh, what a drive. Only then do we see the championship points leader, Luke Lucchese. And Luke is down in 9th position. 4 positions down from his original starting position. And he finds himself still behind. There's Timothy Stanton that's just gone through. We're 14 minutes 34 in. Luke Lucchese's last lap was just over half a second quicker than Timothy Stanton. But with the gap that he's got to traverse, it's going to take him a bit of time, even with what he's doing right now, to be able to get to Timothy Stanton. So that's not going to be an easy one whatsoever to make up that gap. Let's check with Timothy, with Luke Lucchese. Luke Lucchese, you find yourself a long way down. You're on the last lap a half a second quicker than Timothy, with the 15 minutes 12 gone. Do you think there's an opportunity to get to Timothy and any further forward than that?
Out further forward than Tim. Depends on whether he makes a mistake or not. If he doesn't make a mistake, it's going to be quite difficult.
Well, Timothy Stainton doesn't easily make mistakes out there. The fastest accountant in iRacing in South Africa. Timothy, any pressure with the looming presence there of Luke Lekisi behind you?
I've heard of Luke Lucchese before. I'm not so sure about him really, but we'll see what happens.
No, she's a nice girl. She's a really nice
Yeah.
girl. She really is. So, well, there we go. That's the way it's going to play itself out. Pressure, pressure, pressure out there as Luke Lekisi is trying to close down on Timothy Stainton. So Willem Botha and Leon van Wyk is Willem Botha is trying to make a difference there by moving around. Leon, is it difficult to pick up the slipstream when Willem starts weaving from side to side? Does it really realistically make a difference?
So focused. You know, I don't want to get bored and distracted.
All right, there we go. We don't want a commentator's curse.
And there it happens.
All right, so let's leave them to concentrate on that one. Leon van Wyk and Willem Botha. Leon van Wyk pushing very, very hard. He's all over the back end of Willem Botha. That is, oh, luckily we went off air and we were talking to him at that point. So that one cannot be put down to a commentator's curse. So now he's going to have to do it all again, Leon van Wyk. Well, we've got Neil that's been involved with a bit of an incident. Let's see what happened with Neil. Just climbs on the gas with the Moser car just a little bit too hard. Stops it before it gets itself into the kitty litter. Takes it nice and easy on the grass and then gets it going again. And let's see what happened with Leon. Right up onto the back of Willem with a being IT entry. Luckily we went off air just in time and he spins it around like that. Leonardo Bakari went off circuit as well. He was in there behind Herman Lazarus, but yeah, that was his own doing that he went that wide as they go down to the hangar straight. And then yeah, he held on to that one pretty decently, not too bad. As we go back to the live, and the man up front, Willem Botha, made that bit of a gap on Leon van Wyk. Then the gap back to Neil Lamprechts. Then a slightly bigger gap back to the leading super senior, Peter van der Spey. That's in a massive titanic struggle here with Carl Lawrence. Carl Lawrence desperately wanting to get past and go and have a nibble at the back of Neil Lamprechts. There you can see the slipstream effect as he comes a whole bunch closer. Carl Lawrence does go through. Peter van der Spey is not going to worry too much about that at this stage of the fight, because Sander Bakari, having spent just short of 2 minutes in the pit lane, that's back out on circuit, but right at the back of the pack. So Peter van der Spey well on his way to a full points haul as he holds on to the back of Carl Lawrence. I don't know if he should actually get involved with that fight if he wants points for the Grandmasters. We've got 5.5 minutes to go. It's not his fight with Kyle. But I suppose he thinks, well, I mean, the slipstream is there. You're a racer. You're a racer by nature. Fly aeroplanes for a living. Gulfstream jets. Oh, just jets up on the inside of Carl Lawrence. Takes that position back again. So that shows you the power of the slipstream. Carl was going to have a look in and locked up the brakes. And that gives Peter van der Spey just a little bit of a breather. Just a smidgen of a breather. But not far enough ahead at this stage of the fight to be able to break that slipstream toe at all. So Willem Botha, our lead man from Leon van Wyk. Just a little bit further back, there is Neil. And then just coming into your picture, whoopsie, Peter van der Spey and Carl Lawrence. This is a battle royal. Carl has now got ahead of Peter van der Spey once again. Peter van der Spey hell-bent in the Repsol Benson and Hedges 3.5 litre Renault Mean Machine around the Silverstone Circuit. He's close enough to pick up that slipstream once again. Is he going to have another dab at it with just 4 minutes to go? Looks like Peter van der Spey desperately wants to get past at this stage of the fight. He's not backing out whatsoever. He knows that Leonardo is a long way further back, as is Sandro. Well, I think he'll be aware of it. It'll be on the telemetry on the left-hand side of his screen. So I think he fancies finishing better than 5th, trying to pick up possibly a 4th position there. Luke Lucchese has made a passing maneuver on Leonardo Beccari. Let's see what that one looked like. As a look up on the inside line, Leonardo says, you keep on trucking, I'm not going to fight that out with you. And lose track time as such. Timothy Stanton has made a move on Herman Lazarus. Dives out on the last. He was right on the back bumper. And Timothy Stanton slows it all down. Takes it 2 gears down with a Renault powered Red Bull. 3.5 litres of power underfoot. And he manages to get through. So don't forget about this man. His name is Willem Botha from Toyota Gazoo, South Africa, in the Benson Hedges car. That's leading them out very, very neatly. And that's in fact by an extended gap, because he now finds himself the better part of 8 seconds ahead of Leon, after Leon had that bit of a spin within 10 seconds of us doing a little chat with him. He comes through. There you can see Neil Lamprechts in the background with just 3 minutes to go. There comes Neil. 8 seconds further back is going to be Carl Lawrence. Right in there behind him, 16ths of a second, is Peter van der Spey. And that's the last one that we're going to get in that specific shot, because Timothy Stanton is a whole bunch further back. Started in 7th, up to 6th position with 1 minute and 40 seconds to go. Timothy Stanton in 6th from Luke Lucchese, 2 positions down, just ahead there of Herman Lazarus, just ahead of Leonardo Beccari, and they all ahead there of JJ van der Merwe. Looks like that wing slightly damaged, or maybe there's just error of parallax, the angle we're looking at. No, looks like that front wing is quite fine. So Willem Botha with 1 minute and 5 seconds to go works his way around. No mistakes, he'll be saying to himself. No mistakes, no mistakes, no mistakes. Willem Botha, if I may, as bold as to ask, when last did you have a full-on race victory like what you're heading towards now?
I think when I was born, I came first.
You gotta love it. You gotta love it. Willem Botha, happy chappy up front as he works his way around. He hasn't got the white flag yet. We're on 24 minutes 35 seconds, so you'll probably be coming up towards the white flag in the near future, or will he have to do yet another lap after that? I think he might be into... No, there's the white flag. The white flag comes out for Willem Botha. He leads them around. He's got a very decent gap to Leon van Wyk, who's got a pretty decent gap back to Neil Lamprechts, who's got a fair gap back to Carl Lawrence, who's managed to eventually now get away from Peter van der Spey. Timothy Stanton coming into that last complex. But remember, Timothy Stanton's got Luke Lucchese in there behind him. Then just behind that is Herman Lazarus, who's not getting away from a high-flying Leonardo Vicari. And Leonardo Vicari has got JJ in behind him. And then pretty much a half a lap down from there. Well, JJ's gone into the pits. JJ van der Merwe has gone into the pits. That's a strange one. I'm not sure why Willem. Maybe he's got too many points against him. It's possible as Willem comes around. JJ, are you doing a drive-through at the moment?
No, I ran out of fuel.
Oh, note to driver, add sufficient
No,
fuel.
The early stop took 2 liters away from what was filled. So there I'm
Well,
stuck.
we all learn something as we work our way around on this one. And yeah, it's going to be interesting stuff. Checkered flag for Willem Botha. Brilliant stuff, Willem Botha, as he comes across the line. And then it's going to be Leon van Wyk that has taken the checkered flag. Neil will be happy with that third. Carl will be happy with that fourth. I'm sure he'll be super chuffed with that. Peter van der Spey will be pretty chuffed with that fifth position overall. And Timothy Stanton about to work his way through. As he comes across the line. Ahead of Luke Lucchese, who lost the brake pedal there at the end. Then it's going to be Herman Lazarus with cheapercars.co.za. Leonardo Vicari has had a pretty good session. He'll come through to take his checkered flag. And that pretty much wraps it up for now. Can you believe it? So well done, Willem Botha. Brilliant stuff. I think we'll give driver of the day to Willem Botha on this one. Willem Botha has done really, really well. Neil, very consistent today. Carl Lawrence doing even better in race number 2 as what he did in race number 1. Peter van der Spey wouldn't have been to be happy to have lost out there to Leonardo Vicari in race number 1. But picking up top points with the unfortunate situation with poor Sandro Vicari that spent 2 minutes 46 in the pit lane. So I do believe that it's probably going to be game on when we come back to you next week. This was round number 5 in the 3.5 litre Reynolds around Silverstone. That's a 12-round series that we're going to be going through, and I hope you enjoyed it all tonight. It was an honor and a pleasure to be here with you. My name is Gary Fleming from Second Gear Productions, and I look forward to joining you same time next week. From my side, see you at a racetrack soon. Cheers, everybody.